This means war!
This is madness.
This means war!
It's madness.
This is war!
Madness.
War!
Hey, it's cool. It's cool.
What's up, guys? Spenny. I got a couple scars on my body from some dumb things that I've done in the past, some interesting experiences that I learned things about, and so on and so forth. And I guess the point is that it's good to have a scar here and there because it reminds you of what not to do. You have to be able to see the things that happened in the past that were so humiliating and embarrassing in order to not repeat them. And that's why I'm going to show you this video right here. This is an Army recruitment
Although I had a fairly typical childhood.
Yeah.
Took ballet, played violin.
How the Biden
I also
administration
marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet.
Family's pride.
Eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class and then attended UC Davis.
Not a Pixar movie, an Army ad. This is how the Army recruited. Again, not a Pixar movie. Snoop Dogg wouldn't watch this. You know what I mean? Snoop Dogg was complaining about too much alphabet propaganda in Pixar movies. No, this is the United States Army. You paid for this. Pixar makes movies typically based on just the money that Disney makes, and then they put that in other movies. You made this movie. You paid for this one. Isn't that something? See if you can spot the difference between that movie and that ad for the Army and the new ads for the Army.
No more distractions. No more electric tanks, no more gender confusion, no more climate change worship. We are laser focused on our mission of warfighting.
We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. It's called peace through strength.
You look into the eyes of these young Americans who are giving up the best years of their life in a uniform to serve their nation. They are incredible.
Through our power and might, we will lead the world to peace. Our friends will respect us, our enemies will fear us, and the whole world will admire the unrivaled greatness of the United States military. We will replenish the pride of our armed forces, end the recruitment crisis.
We don't fight because we hate what's in front of us. We fight because we love what's behind us.
God bless you. God bless our armed forces. God bless our men and women serving overseas. And God bless the United States of America.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that you were fighting for this, for activism. I thought that this was what we were fighting for. Be yourself. This is what we were fighting for. This is what I thought we were fighting for. Isn't this it? Respect everyone. This is how we win wars, by marching with giant signs that say respect everyone, or else we'll kill you. Yeah. You know, it's this insane fever dream, this idea that all nations can live together in peace. They have never done that, and they won't ever do that. And one nation will win, one nation will lose. And so are you going to be the losers? Are you going to just be defending? You know, every single military tactician will always tell you, you're not winning a war if you're not taking ground. Whether that's the culture war, whether that's a battle against the cockroaches or rats that live in your house, or mosquitoes, or whatever. You know, if maybe it's a war professionally where you're trying to be an entrepreneur or somebody who's building financial assets. You have to be gaining. You have to be taking ground. You have to be growing. If you are not taking ground, and more importantly, if you're not taking the resources of the enemy, then you're losing. This is why Ukraine is losing the war in Ukraine. That just is what it is. They're losing ground. They're losing resources. Ukraine is. That's why they're losing the war. That's why it's smart to stop that war. That's why you need a Department of War. Because you can't just be on defense. For my entire life, it's been called the Department of Defense. Because we wanted to like somehow tell the whole entire world that we won't just straight up yeet you. If you're somebody who threatens America, we're just going to defend. That's not how it works. That's not how the world works. It's not how it's ever worked. And it's actually more honest to just call it the Department of War. Now the Trump administration is doing that. Department of War. Trump signs executive order renaming the Pentagon in historic move. President Donald Trump signed executive order renaming the Department of Defense into the Department of War. The president, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, have indicated in recent days that they want to change the name of the agency back to the Department of War. It used to be Department of War. In order to get the warrior ethos campaign within the Pentagon, the White House official has since confirmed that the Trump rollout name change will happen on Friday. Executive order calls the term Department of War to be used in a secondary title to the Department of Defense. The Secretary of War will refer to Pete Hegseth's position. He also instructed Hegseth to propose legislative and executive actions to make the name change permanent. Implementing the executive order will now require the federal government to change websites as well as signage at the Pentagon, including changing the name, press briefing room to the Pentagon War Annex. The United States called the military agency the Department of War up until 1949, when it changed in accordance with the National Security Act to the much more lame Department of Defense. The Trump suggested that he would like the name change back. Everybody likes that we have an unbelievable history of victory, he says, and now it's time to be changed back from the Department of Defense. Very nice. Very nice. Department of War. Secretary of War. Hell yeah. Freaking cool. Pete Hegseth is totally down with this. Here's Pete Hegseth yesterday. Thank you for traveling with the War Department. Says Hegseth is what Trump
Pete,
says.
you started up by saying the Department of Defense, and somehow it didn't sound good to me. You know, it didn't sound good. Defense, what are we defense? Why are we defense? So it used to be called the Department of War, and it had a stronger sound. And as you know, we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything. Now we have a Department of Defense. We're defenders. I don't know. If you people want to, standing behind me, if you take a little vote, if you want to change it back to what it was when we used to win wars all the time, that's okay with me.
We used to win wars. Yeah. You can see what the Department of Defense is capable of. This is what the Department of Defense is interested in. Pete Hegseth has been loving this and has been crowing about it on Fox.
The president has said, we're not just defense, we're offense. We're reestablishing at the department the warrior ethos. We want warriors, folks that understand how to exact lethality on the enemy. We don't want endless contingencies and just playing defense. We think words and names and titles matter. So we're working with the White House and the president on it. Stand by, but we might have some new signage here, right over here, eventually.
We look forward to it.
Well, here in the briefing room.
And we'll see if you have to go to Kinko's to change your business card.
I've said stand by on it, and that's what I'll say again, because that's ultimately the president's call. But I'll say this. You know, we won World War I, and we won World War II, not with the Department of Defense, but with a War Department.
Great point, actually. And we have as big, if not bigger, threats on our shores today than we had then. That's for certain. Department of War, says Pete Hegseth. Pronouns updated he, she, fired. Yeah. The Navy commander that apparently is a medical director of transgender healthcare at the Naval Center in California. Yeah. Yikes. And Pete Hegseth, she, her, fired. There you go. And President Trump, Department of War. Look at this. It used to be the War Office. We used to have a proper country. The establishment of the Department of War. George Washington created the Department of War. It's freaking awesome. Only someone who avoided the draft would want to rename the Department of Defense the Department of War. Establishment of the Department of War. George Washington. Department of War is an honest name. It should be changed back. This is a great thing. Beautiful thing. And obviously something that I continually and will totally support and back. The United States Department of War, reestablished. Back when we used to win wars. Back in these days. Back when we would kick ass. and take names and take no prisoners, Trump will sign the executive order creating the Department of War. Trump to sign. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited for it. You're excited for it. I'm excited for brand new advertisements and a military that could actually kick some ass and isn't just some type of like creepy gender studies slop. We talked about this actually this week with a member of Congress who's an Army veteran. His name's Greg Stubbe. He fought in war for this country. What did he have to say about it? Many nice things. Here you go. The actions of the Department of War. We know that you have some legislation about this. Yeah. It's obviously something, as somebody who has served honorably and gone to war for this country, you clearly have some insight here. Can you talk to us about it?
Yeah, I mean, Americans aren't just about defense. We're about protecting the safety and security of the American people and going into areas we need to go into to protect American citizens in our interests. The Department of War has been the name of the Department of War since the time of George Washington, all the way up to right after the Second World War. So the majority of our nation's history, that was the name of the department. It was only changed after World War II. They changed it to the Department of Defense. I obviously think the Department of War is a stronger title for what that agency and what that department is supposed to be focused on. There are a lot of threats to our country right now. I sit on the Intelligence Committee. Obviously can't go into all the details that are classified, but we are facing insurmountable threats all across the world, whether it be terrorism or the Chinese Communist Party or you name it. And so we should be focused on war fighting, and that should be the job of the Department of Defense, which I think it is better termed the Department of War.
Why did they change the name? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, I don't know the history of that. I would imagine after World War II, they thought that maybe, after World War II and we defeated the Nazis in Germany and the Japanese, they wanted to turn to defense. And if you look at spending of what Congress did after World War II, the spending that was going on, obviously during the war, was a tremendous amount of money that was being spent. And then a lot of that was reduced. So maybe they just wanted to focus more on defense of our country. But we live in a very dangerous world right now. And I just think I love the type of way that Trump thinks about things and that renaming things and the power that has. When our adversaries see now there's going to be a secretary of the Department of War, not Department of Defense. I just love the way the president thinks. I'm happy to back him up. Congress should back him up. The president can do it through executive order, but a new president comes along and they could change it. So Congress needs to act. I filed a bill in the House. Senator Mike Lee's filed it in the Senate. We are going to attempt to amend this on to the NDAA, which I think is being negotiated and voted on in the Senate this week. When it comes to the House, I'll file an amendment as well to try to get that voted on. I suspect that most, if not all, Republicans would support that. So if I can get the amendment made in order, maybe we can get it done through the amendment process and not have to go through the bill process.
Yeah, I mean, everything got so cucked and limp-wristed after the World War II victory. And there was like sort of this, I guess there was just this idea that everyone would just get together and link arms and sing Kumbaya. And we shouldn't be mean, and dangerous. And that's a terrible stance, actually, for any empire to take. That is the beginning of your collapse. And that's what you've seen, actually, over the last 60 years, last 70 years, you've seen that wholesale collapse.
Well, and UN and NATO were created after World War II, too. And we see what UN and NATO have turned into today.
Yes, totally.
I mean, UN is completely run by the Chinese. It's crazy what those organizations are doing. The globalism of the world and feeding power into communist and socialist nations. The propaganda that comes out of the UN is astronomical. Even we saw it in Gaza, the UN organization that was helping Hamas. I mean, this is all funded by taxpayer dollars, and we shouldn't be a part of it. But we should be focused on defending our country and making sure that we are prepared, if necessary, to kinetically get involved in if there's somebody that wants to do us harm.
Yeah, and winning. And obviously deterrence is a great defense, but you have to be like lethality and being scary is how you defend yourself the best. It's how you make people
and taking action, like you saw what Trump just did off the coast of Venezuela. I would imagine if you're a drug narco terrorist now and you're going to be getting in a boat to bring drugs to our country, you're probably going to think twice before hopping on a boat and coming to Florida or some other part of our country, knowing that you're going to get blown out of the water.
Yes,
so it has
exactly
a huge detrimental effect to those in the world that wish to do us harm.